tens of thousands of people are using a Japanese philosophy they fundamentally misunderstand. The Wabi-Sabi trend on TikTok, where we celebrate our imperfections with that King of the Hill audio, it went massive, and for good reason. Most of us are just exhausted. We've spent a long time curating perfect social media feeds, perfect bodies, perfect lives, and of course we want permission to be imperfect. But there's a problem. The way most of us are using Wabi-Sabi is actually making our confidence worse. Passive acceptance and active cultivation are completely different things. And that difference is very important. The real Wabi-Sabi didn't start as an aesthetic trend. It took shape through Zen-influenced tea culture in Japan from the 15th century onward. It was refined in the 16th century when they were studying something far more uncomfortable: the 3 marks of existence. Impermanence, stress, so being unsatisfied, and the idea that the self underneath it all is something that's always changing, something that's not fixed. And these were realities that they needed to train through. And the actual man who brought Wabi-Sabi to its peak, a tea master named Sen no Rikyu, he didn't talk about just embracing imperfection. He rebuilt Japanese culture around it. He stripped away extravagance. He shifted away from expensive Chinese porcelain to prefer rough, crooked, very simple pottery. He designed tea rooms with a crawl-through entrance that was so small that even high-ranking guests had to bow down to enter. His employer eventually ordered him to commit ritual suicide. Historians still debate the reasons why. So what did Rikyu understand that we're missing? Well, first, the good news. TikTok is onto something real. The trend resonates because we know at some level that our obsession with perfection is destroying us. Perfectionism levels have been climbing for 3 decades straight. And recent research tracking over 40,000 college students across the US, Canada, and the UK found that every dimension of perfectionism is rising linearly since 1989. We're becoming more demanding of ourselves, more critical of everyone around us. It's constant self-monitoring, and it keeps our stress response running before we even walk into a room. And maladaptive perfectionism, the kind where we set impossible standards, then just beat ourselves for failing, is consistently associated with higher anxiety, burnout, and depression. So how do we save this sinking ship? Well, studies suggest self-acceptance, and crucially, not just thinking we accept ourselves, but actually being in that state, feeling it in the body. That recognition, that moment of saying, my imperfection has wabi-sabi, creates a microdose of self-compassion. And growing evidence suggests that this self-compassion has protective effects against perfectionism's harm. And recent studies show self-compassion practice reducing appearance anxiety and social media's impact on our body image. It's great because this TikTok trend opens people up to practicing self-kindness instead of constant self-critique. And it matters because our target becomes, I am beautifully imperfect, rather than, I need to fix this flaw before anyone sees it. It's a different tradition, but Chun Tai Chi gave me a body-based parallel to what Wabi-Sabi points to at psychologically, right? In Chun Tai Chi terms, we're releasing unnecessary tension. It's the mental gripping that creates physical bracing that then reinforces mental rigidity in a self-perpetuating cycle. So when we use that trend to celebrate a crooked smile, or a cake that doesn't rise, or a partner doing something ridiculous, we're practicing something that's genuinely healthy. We are interrupting that perfectionism loop, even just briefly. And that's worth something. but it's also incomplete. And if this is interesting to you, just tap like. It helps more people find this. What people on TikTok are missing is that Wabi-Sabi was never passive. It wasn't, I like how mine's a little off center so I don't have to change anything. It was actually, I have trained myself through years of disciplined practice to perceive beauty in what I once rejected. Do you see the difference? One is a cope and the other is a skill. And the tea practitioners who developed this philosophy didn't just accept imperfection, they cultivated the ability to see it clearly. And that cultivation happened mainly through one thing that we've almost completely lost: the body. In Shun Taiji, there's a principle called Sung, and it's usually translated as relaxation, but I think that translation doesn't really do it justice. Sung isn't collapse. It's not going limp. It's a relaxed state of readiness where our power can flow because we've released unnecessary tension. This is Wabi-Sabi in motion. It's not, well, imperfection is fine, so I'll just stay weak. But movement that's relaxed and alive generates more power than movement that's locked tight by the fear of doing it wrong. And karate teaches this too. We train precise technique so thoroughly that execution becomes effortless, not forced. And what undermines us here is that tension, and it's due to us being self-conscious and insecure. And the masters understood that confidence isn't a mental state, it's an embodied one. And I did a whole video on that last week, actually. I'll link that up here for you. Some experiments on postures that are upright versus slumped find improved mood and self-esteem in the upright position. They reported greater self-acceptance and lower anxiety. And Qigong researchers found the same thing. Participants have described making peace with their bodies and regaining confidence. And this wasn't through affirmation. It was through physical training. And there's another element that TikTok skips almost entirely: impermanence. Wabi-Sabi isn't just about imperfection. It's about transience. When we truly internalize that every moment is unrepeatable, the Japanese tea ceremony calls this Ichi-Go, Ichi-E. It's once in a lifetime encounter. Our relationship with imperfection shifts. It's not, my flaws are cute, it's everything, including this moment, is already passing. So fighting it is absurd. Now that recognition lands in the body. It softens the grip of perfectionism at the root by releasing our want for things to be other than they are right now. And we can't get there through a 15-second audio clip, right? We get there through physical practice. And if you're realizing right now that most confidence content out there skips this entirely, well, that's what I develop here on this channel. So just subscribe if you want to go deeper. So if we want to actually train Wabi-Sabi instead of just posting about it, then we can start with the body, because that's where our perfectionism lives. It's in the tension we hold, it's the shallow breath that we take, it's that collapsed posture when we feel judged. And in Chinese, people sometimes call this your qi-chan, your vibe, your aura, your personal field. And when we're exhausted or tense, that field contracts. And contracted energy makes authentic self-acceptance almost impossible, which is why I always say we can't think our way into embodied confidence. We have to physically practice our way there. Release the physical grip first, then the mental shift just follows naturally. So first we address the tension that we've been carrying and we just release it. And this connects directly to the Chinese concept of the three treasures: Jing, Qi, Shun. Physical substance, energetic flow, and spiritual clarity. They build in that order because each layer depends on the foundation beneath it. We can't cultivate Shun, which is peaceful spirit, while our Jing, our physical body, remains exhausted and tense. That would be like trying to build a third floor before constructing the ground floor. So we begin with Sun. Just place one hand on your lower belly right now and breathe deep into that space. And as you exhale slowly, just scan from your head down. Where are we gripping that serves no purpose? Is the forehead tense? Soften that. Is our jaw clenched? Just release that. Are our shoulders up? Just let them settle. Are our hands curled? Just uncurl them. As our physical tension releases, our mental grip on perfection loosens too. And just note, this wasn't because we decided to think differently. It's because our nervous system can now afford to stop monitoring like crazy. So when our body feels safer, our mind naturally becomes less critical, less desperate to control outcomes. And second, we practice what Chun Tai Chi calls Sung Chun. It's settling our weight into the ground rather than having it hovering all around us in tension. So just stand naturally and imagine a silver cord from the crown of your head extending upwards, lengthening your spine. And now exhale and let your weight sink fully down into your feet. Now, if you feel this is the physical foundation Wabi-Sabi requires. Being here in this body, in this moment, without mentally leaping ahead to how we should improve ourselves or what others might think. From this grounded state, imperfection stops being something we tolerate and becomes something that we inhabit. The asymmetry in your face, the unique way that you walk, the specific tone of your voice, I don't think they should be flaws that we've learned to accept despite their imperfection. They're the actual expression of being this particular human in this particular body. And when our nervous system is regulated enough to rest in that truth, we discover what the tea masters knew. The distinctive is more compelling than the generic. The lived in has more resonance than the pristine. The slightly off center carries more life than mechanical symmetry ever could. The TikTok trend isn't wrong for celebrating imperfection, it's just incomplete because it stops at the surface. Real Wabi-Sabi transforms our perception through practice. It trains us physically, not just mentally, to release the grip of perfectionism at its source, in the body, in the breath, in the nervous system that decides, before conscious thought, whether we're safe enough to be ourselves. Tea practitioners knew that we don't become comfortable with imperfection by announcing it, we become comfortable by cultivating the capacity to hold it through years of deliberate practice that strengthens the body, calms the mind, and reveals what was actually never broken. Has it got wabi-sabi? Maybe, but only if we've done the work to see it. A strong body creates the conditions for a calm mind creates the space for courageous expression, and courageous expression, emerging from that stable foundation, carries a specific quality that people instantly recognize because it's so rare. It's the quality of someone being fully themselves without apology or performance. That's what Wabi-Sabi makes possible. It's not accepting our imperfection as a consolation prize, but living from it as the source of what makes us unmistakable. If someone came to mind while watching, maybe send it to them. And if you're curious where your own energy might be blocked or what's actually preventing that calm presence from translating into daily confidence, I put together a free diagnostic based on the 3 treasures. It takes about 2 minutes, links below. And if you've ever caught yourself editing who you are in a room full of people and wondered why, well, I broke that down right here.